Now, I know, Andy, because we were talking about this before the show. The title "Through the Lens" that would be a wonderful song for you to write. Great title. But we're talking about a refractometer and looking through that lens at our plants. So, welcome everybody. Scotty, thanks for being here from Kentucky. You're in the house. Great to see you here.
Hey, Scotty.
Let's get moving.
Hey, Scotty. Kentucky in the house. Whew. I love Kentucky because I love horses. I can't help it, and that's one of my favorite places I have friends. But do you know what a refractometer is, Ken?
Aaron? Yes, actually, I do. Not in as much detail as you do, but we've talked about refractometers before and about sap analysis, etc. And we actually had a lady that does sap analysis on with Leighton on Monday, and I was actually talking to her about a refractometer and that before that show. But explain to our audience, Andy, what is a refractometer and why would we want to have that in our repertoire of tools?
Well, a refractometer is obvious because it refracts. It refracts the light. Not too many people know, or maybe they do. A refractometer is really used in astronomy. I was going to say astrology, but it's astronomy. They can look through a refractometer at a star or even another planet and tell you what elements are in it.
No, I did not know.
Right, that's what it was originally made for. To the extent that you spend millions of dollars, you make because it refracts the light, breaks it down on different components. Each element has its own color.
Right.
But in our terms, for a refractometer is this was adapted. The refractometer as such wasn't invented by him because astrologers have been using it for a long time now. But he wanted to know the mineral values of plants.
Right.
And then, so being a scientist, he knew that each mineral has a certain color. He says, well, why can't I use a refractometer on the plant to see what minerals it has?
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally now in the way it is now, if you buy a refractometer, you're probably into making beer or you're into wine or juices, because that's in the industry. That's what they use a commercial refractometers is to measure the sugar level, because it's a Brix level, BRIC level of and it's a measurement of sugar. So it's done for the wine industry to understand. If the wine's too sweet, the same thing with the juice. It has to be a certain sweetness. I don't know if too many people use a refractometer in cooking, but you make it in beer for sure. You use it in beer making.
Well, I know that Scotty here he's saying I use a refractometer in making bourbon. I can get my Brix in the conversion of starches to sugars.
That's right. So I latched onto it early on, only because my mother. I used to go shopping with my mother. I don't know if I told you that. Go shopping with my mother, and she would always nibble on the fruit, and she would get caught all the time. So the grocery guy knew she was coming, would slice a piece for her. Here you go. Here, that's for you too. We'll nibble on. Oh, this is good. We'll take that. Right. So I learned. And I realized that the whole thing about sugar is exactly that. It tastes good. And I also learned that as we humans have evolved, we have evolved to like things that taste good and stay away from things that are bitter.
Right.
And usually are toxic. So I learned. Somewhere along the line there, because I've been doing this radio thing for years. I haven't, it wasn't. I used to drive to a studio to have and pay $1,500 an hour to do it. It was over the air FM. And now, and one place I was with a NPR station, KPFK here in LA. 20 years I was there at KPFK, but I didn't have to pay there, but I did pay for this professional studio place. But the last, I don't know, when the internet came on, we could do more stuff. It doesn't cost us an arm and a leg to do it. So I've been doing this for a long time. But so I started talking. I said the same story again about going shopping with my mom, and we picked sweet things. And as a gardener, I gravitate towards sweet things, whether it be tomatoes, apples, fruit, carrot. Right, these are sweet things, and the bitter things I don't tend to eat as much.
Right.
But then I somehow along the line decided, because I never heard of a refractometer being used to measure anything. But when I was talking about my experience, this guy who I don't know if he owned it or if he was a salesman or Leica, the Leica, the company Leica.
Okay.
Right. They produce a camera, but they also do refractometers. And so he calls me up on the air and he tells me we have this refractometer that is used specifically for food, wine, beer, those things. The guy didn't say use it on your vegetables. He said we use it on the fruit and stuff like that. So I said cool. So he gave me this one, and it's a $10,000. It was $10,000 at that time. It's now. Because it just came out, it was like a brand new thing. People were using it in the business. Now you can go on Amazon or any of these places and get a $35 refractometer, which works just as good as a $10,000 refractometer one. I have three refractometers. Two are analog, one's digital. The digital means exactly that. You have a battery, has a little screen, it shows a number on it. And basically the same setup. It's a refractometer is a tiny little unit that you look through, light path. So basically you put the food down on a little plate, and then you look through the lens. The light shines through the little camera, and when you see it, the way it shows up. And I wanted to see if I can pull it up, but I don't have it. I have to find it. What I'm going to do is do a little series of it, so I can get the information, because throughout the year. I have 1 billion files on my computer. I go, holy cow! I got to go back all the years, and I have 5 hard drives and 6 more hard drives sitting over there. They all have. There you go. So you see how there's a blue line and a white line, and where the two meet, that's the level. That's the refractometer level, right? Where the two meet, that's the Brix level. See if you can bring that up a little more. So maybe. But like that one there, can you make it larger?
I can try. Let's see here.
Just click on that one. There you go.
Yeah.
And
that's actually an Amazon link for $26.90.
Yeah, right. That's right. And so this one here is made for
antifreeze.
Yeah, so it's not exactly what I would do. Try to find another refractometer. Write refractometer for beer in the search engine there.
Okay, refractometer for beer.
You can just as easy have done. Okay, so bring up any one of the, like this one over here, the blue one. You can see the whole screen, the whole numbers there.
This one here.
That one, yeah, that one.
That's a temperature thing. So
it's a temperature, right? It doesn't have yeah, that's a temperature one. So that's not the right one. We want to be able to do a refractometer for beer brewing, but in this one here has a temperature, and you don't want temperature. You want a Brix level. I have never seen a temperature.
Well, it's on the left-hand side here, Andy. It's saying Brix.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, right. Got it.
It's SGWORT.
Right. So a lot of these, you don't need all those other things. When you buy one, all you need one that says Brix on it. That's all you need. So there's a whole bunch of varieties on the market now, depending on what whether it be beer, wine. Some have different calibrations, exactly. All those other things on the side, the SG and the WORT, you don't need that. That is not necessary. So when you buy one, just buy a simple one. Mine, since that beer didn't have all that other stuff next to it, all you want is a Brix level. You see on the left-hand side, that's the
Yeah.
Brix level. And that'll work for everything that you need because all the different types of vegetables and plants and fruits and everything all going to fall within that 30. You never have to go any higher than that 30. You have 31, 32. You can see there's 2 more points
Yeah.
above the 32. And so what I've learned, this is what I've been doing for all these years, and so to give you guys an advantage of fast forwarding in the learning pace.
Yes, please.
When I started using a refractometer, of course, I used it on the citrus juice. I used it on the apple juice. I also take a citrus, rub the little citrus on the lens and then look through the apple, anything with a juice on it. And then I said, oh, but what about vegetables and leaves and stuff like that? Because it was nothing mentioned about how do you even do that with it. So I started to do a Brix reading on the leaf,
okay,
and on the flower, right, and on the fruit. So if it has fruit, I would do it on the fruit. So vegetables like lettuce, I would take the lettuce, get a little mortar pestle, add a couple of drops of still water to it, crush it up. Sometimes you don't need to do the drops. Sometimes you can get enough of your green matter. You can literally squish it. So you have some liquid, and you put that on your lens. You rub that on the lens. So you get the Brix reading of the leaf. And so throughout the years, I found out that this whole Brix thing is very interesting because say for example, a citrus. Mm-hmm. A citrus, you saw the Brix level there, should be anywhere about 20, 21, 22, in the high 20s. Really, really perfect one would be 32 Brix level.
Okay, for anything or everything?
No, I'm talking about for that citrus.
Okay, for citrus. Okay.
Now there are different. One of the things I came up with is a chart called PAGE, PAGE, poor, average, good, excellent. Those are those where Brix levels are at. Poor being like you got your Brix of 2. That's really bad. You know, average you maybe get in an 8. And good you're going up in the high 10s. But excellent, you got 20 and up. And it's different. And it's different for every plant. It's very different. And also I learned that not only is it different, but it's different if you do it different times of the year. You get a different Brix reading in the wintertime than you would in the springtime. Right? And also too, the juice, you'll get a different Brix reading because if you take a citrus, you let it ripen more and more, it's going to get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it depends on when you do that. But so in terms of the art for us, why we use a Brix a refractometer would be if you're not really certain that you're getting the vitamins and minerals from your food, or you're not doing the right thing to your plants that you're growing. Because a lot of times, if you're growing something that's not doing well, you want to know what is it that I'm doing wrong, right? What is it that I could do better to make that plant grow better? And so it's not that complicated, but unfortunately, people do make it complicated in the sense they go buy this and they go buy that, and that's the thing. They buy this fertilizer, organic. Well, if they buy organic fertilizer, they would have a less of a problem than if they bought chemical fertilizer. And that's another scenario there too, because if you're using a refractometer and you're using chemical fertilizers, your readings are all going to be screwed up.
In what way, Andy?
The high nitrogen causes a different reading that with a plant that had normal levels of nitrogen and a plant high levels of nitrogen. Causes a different Brix reading. And it's a really weird, the way it happens is sort of like it raises the Brix level really fast.
Okay. So
let's just say, you have a citrus and you do a Brix reading before you spray and the Brix reading is 8. And then you spray and the next morning the Brix reading is 20. You're going to go, wow, that's great. You go back the next day and do the Brix reading again, you could be back down to lower than the 8 when you first started.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that nitrogen has an adverse effect on the sugar level because it makes your sugar levels go up to the roof. But the sugar, see, what I've learned is that there's a difference between the sugar level, something sweet, because it's really sweet, it's good, and the minerals. Not so much the minerals, but the different variations of minerals. So you need 90 different minerals. So trace minerals in there, a blend of all these things. But quite often when you do chemical fertilizer, you have one mineral more than everything else.
Okay.
Which it then tends to make you read in a higher brick swing because you do have more minerals. You doesn't mean you have a blend of minerals. And I didn't create that idea, even though I thought about it. This guy invented, it's called a fuzzy rule. Okay. What is it? And he's like crazy uncle. You wish you had though. Thanks, Lucas. So this guy invented this rule called the fuzzy rule. So you remember that line that's black and white? If it's real sharp,
okay,
that means that you have basically one or two trace minerals or something like that. If that, because it still has a lot of with chemical fertilizers, they tend to do the nitrogen throws everything else out of whack. The high nitrogen is not normally found in nature, so it throws everything. So they're like on cocaine, right? You go, you get really super stressed out. So it raises it causes havoc. If you remember what I talked to you about last time about why bugs don't attack healthy plants as opposed to stressed out plants. The stressed out plants are their carbohydrates is very simple. They're not getting all the trace minerals they need, so they have a simple carbohydrate. Whereas the plants who are mellow and relaxed have complex carbohydrates because they're getting all the trace minerals they need. See what I mean, right? Yeah. Right. So the high nitrogen blocks out the ability of the plants to absorb all these trace minerals. Instead, it goes for other minerals, but those minerals by themselves are totally useless without these other minerals.
Yeah, it's about balance, right?
Right. So so what happens is you have this high nitrogen complex that produces really green, really everything really looks like it's really looking really good. It's like you know what I mean? It's like holy cow, right? But the reality is that plant is really super stressed out, and it's going to come down afterwards. It's going to have a going. What is it? They're going to come down from the drug, right? So it's going to be more stressed out than before. Greetings, Gretel hippie. I like that, Gretel hippie. So when you're doing a refractometer reading, it's totally useless to use a refractometer if you're using chemical fertilizers and chemical stuff. Just forget it.
Yeah.
It
almost sounds like we've got hypoglycemic plants or diabetic plants.
Yeah.
And we're should be treating them like the diabetic they are.
Exactly. I like you, Ken, because I have never really put it quite that way, but that's exactly what happens. But it happens to the plants. So the plants get this urea 6500 for crying out loud. 6500.
Ouch.
And they got the balls to name it after urine. Urine is like 100, if that.
Yeah.
And you know the biggest difference between urine and urea? Besides having 65% nitrogen, the urine may have 1% urine, but it also has 90 different trace minerals, billions and billions of different types of microbiology in that one little liquid there as well. It has different sources of irons. They're all things, right? All in a really nice blend, not just one thing that you then add to other chemicals, and so you have this nitrogen that makes whatever they're using. Is that me? It's you, huh?
No, that's me. I'm muting.
Oh, okay. Right. So, but you see the difference. And the difference is night and day because the plants are going to be super stressed out. They're going to be like, I talked to a doctor who about muscle builders. He says, they're super stressed out. Their heart, their lungs, everything's stressed out. And they take all these different things, and it's not, that's not the way to live your life because you're going to have problems down the road. So that's what these plants are. Hi, guys. Hi, martial artist. Martial artist. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Don't get in a fight with that boy. Okay. You're going to be in trouble.
I have a feeling I shouldn't. So the key to using the refractometer is you're already doing things organically. You really want to know how to provide, if you're doing the right things. I don't use a refractometer in my use because I am the refractometer.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the
Yeah.
refractometer. I look at something and I go, huh. Right? Or you can look at it beautiful. I was at some places today. Like I did two jobs today, big giant places. Uh, I love to be able to show you some pictures of it and stuff. I might even do that if you guys want to, because these are like multi-billion-dollar homes, right? It's like, holy cow. And
Yeah,
the
if you
big,
can, we love picture slideshows, Andy.
oh, I love to do that. I could do that now if you want to, but really, I finally figured out iCloud.
Ah, cool.
Well,
Good for you. Now you
I have
can teach me.
I have a Mac and an iPhone, and everything I take is through the iPhone, right, or my iPad. So I
Yeah.
go out with me, Michelle. Now I'm teaching her to start taking pictures and videos because we have an ongoing scenario here. These are things that we do every day. I don't do them
Yeah.
every day, but when I go out and do them, that other people really would get off on and understand it, because this is wild, crazy shit. Nobody does it. Nobody, seriously. I mean, there are lots of people that talk about soil biology, and that's cool. I understand there's more and more people like yourself, Elaine Ingram. There's a whole bunch of other people out there that are really promoting the biology of the soil. But I'm talking from years of experience about that disease gets cured by this. Specific, you name any disease, you name the disease. And I would love that. I would love anybody out to say, my plant has this, my tree has that. Phytophthora has this bug, a leaping borer, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It goes right back down to the same thing. Law, cause, and effect. That's all you need to know. So I don't even need to look. It's like a doctor. Doesn't have to look at a patient. you go, because you look at the patient, you go, oh shit, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's talking to me that I don't see him, I'll tell them the very first thing, what are you eating, right? What the fuck are you eating, right? Right? That's the first thing I say. If I don't, then I'm not doing my job. And he would say, well, and I would go, yes, tell me. It's okay. We're not going to put any judgment on you. What are you drinking? Do you drink booze? All these are simple things gets it down to that person really is a drug addict. And unfortunately, we're all drug addicts if we go to the store and buy anything in that store. Yeah. It's really very difficult. It's really very difficult not to get. Well, I bought some today. I bought some carrots, organic carrots. I bought some things, some vegetables. I did buy one drug. Maybe let's see. It was one drug. It was vinegar and salt potato chips. It was organic vinegar and salt potato chips, and it wasn't made in the bad stuff. But unfortunately, salt and vinegar are not. They're also a drug. It's also a drug that a lot of the salt is toxic unless you get the salt that's real salt.
Yeah.
You see, it's the same thing with sugar. Sugar is toxic unless you get real sugar, right? And so
natural sugar.
Natural sources of sugar, and you can get organically grown sugar, but any of the chemically grown sugar is super genetically modified, high fructose, right? Yeah. It's actually called super high fructose because they want to make it. They know that the more sugar, the more you keep coming back for it. The more you keep coming back. I have to confess, I've been having. I am a coconut milk popsicle addict.
Well, at least you can admit to it, Andy.
That's
the first step to recovery is admitting you have the addiction.
And I know that it doesn't say organic coconut, but I'm thinking, what could they possibly do to coconuts to change it, right? Because it's not like the modified sugar coconut thing, It's 12 grams sugar per serving. It's a tiny thing. It's made for kids, and but there's 4 of them in the pack, and I eat all 4 of them, and I'm sick the next day. And I know that it's the sugar in there is a drug, and I know they're adding something to that. It's not just coconut that's in there; something else is in there, and they don't have to tell you. But so my point here is, guys, is that the refractometer is really very good for teaching you when you do something right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you hit on one of the things I do with refractometer when I don't do it all the time now, but I really should. I was thinking of starting it up again when I go to customers. See, when I go to customers' places, I use the refractometer. Everything's screwed up, so I would say, why waste your time? Why waste your time? There's just. But if you live there, if you're living there and you're going to be there for a long, long time, and you're going to be doing it, you want to know that if you bought this microbial product and then you took a refractometer 30 days later, and you notice a difference. Normally, I would tell you, start a refractometer diary. So what I did was I would do grass clippings, right? Grass clippings throughout the year. I did trees, not branches, but leaves of trees, the flowers. In the vegetables, I would do the same thing, whether it be the leaf or the flowers, you know. And I would say in June, I did the citrus, and this is a refractometer reading, and then this is what I fed. This is what I fed it the following week, and this is a reading that I got the following month, because it usually takes anywhere between 2 weeks to a month for the Brix level to rise up in the plant, and the juices takes like 30 days at least for the plant to produce juice and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but if you keep track of it, you'll see that this is what it was before I did this. This is what it was after I did this. And there's something I did there that caused that to happen. And it's so cool if you can relate to that way. And it's so cool if you can relate it to a particular biology that you did, or whether you made compost, you used compost tea, or whether you use something else to promote the biology. Because a lot of times you can buy biology in the store now. You know, you can order different kinds of microbial, mycorrhizal mixtures, all kinds of things like that. But you want it. I don't think they're all the same. They're all good. I have no idea how to get Leighton to test them all or something. You know what I mean? Because you have to really, you have to know what you're looking for. Even then, you have to say, well, who knows what this is, right? So the refractometer is a really good tool to use to learn. If you're a student in school, you want to learn agriculture, the best tool to have. And you keep a diary of what you do, and you keep a diary of the reading of the Brix reading that you get.
Now, Scotty's got a good point here. Different spots on the plant will show different levels.
No. So they're all supposed to show the same. If it shows differently, that means the plant is having a hard time transferring it as it's supposed to be throughout the plant. There's a name for that, where it doesn't, where the vitamins and minerals don't get to every part of the plant. There's something wrong with it, and there's a specific.
It's like us with plugged arteries, right? There's something wrong there.
Right. So there's a specific name of that problem where the plant doesn't get everything's evenly spread. Because I learned that from the very beginning. I would test it one place and test it again. There should be the same. When they're different, that means that the plant's not spreading everything out evenly. Something's going on there. Usually, it also indicative of your root systems. So whenever, oh, no problem, Scotty. I'll send you a bill. So whenever my experience has been, whenever that happens on a tree or a plant, I like doing it on tomato plants, 2 different levels, same thing with fruit trees. But you do it on the fruit, that's different than you do it on the leaf. Yeah. Right? You're going to get a different reading on the fruit than you would on the leaf. And that's also an interesting story there, too, because they're not going to be the same. Right? They're not going to be the same. One is the fruit. The fruit's always going to have a higher Brix level because what does it do? It's ripening. It gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Next thing you know, it's rotten, right? So there's a certain stage of that. Whereas the plant, that green leaf will always, it doesn't get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter until it rots, right? It's always, you're looking for a certain level that plant produces. And each plant's different. Pine trees are different than palm trees, are different, right? Even the trees, and the different time of year is different because the temperature is like molasses, Codas, what's the name for molasses when it doesn't, Codas molasses in the winter?
Yes, as slow as molasses in January.
There you go. So that basically means the sap of the plant, the energy of the blood of the plant does not circulate a whole lot when it's cold.
Yeah.
And so that's different. You're going to get a different Brix reading than if you're doing it in the summertime where everything's circulating really, really cool. And so that also that gives you an indication of the range you can go on a plant. But whenever the plant's at really, really low Brix level, even in the summertime, you know there's something wrong. I myself don't use that to be able to tell. I don't need that to be able to tell there's something wrong. There are other things that tell me there's something wrong. But some people say, I don't see anything. Well, here's a Brix reading of 10. Like I have a new customer. First thing he did was buy my book. The second thing he did was he also bought a refractometer. He bought the wrong kind. I showed him that's not the one you want. And then next week I came back. He had a $35 refractometer. I said, okay, let's measure your citrus level. So I took his citrus, squeezed, he had a 10. He said, that's good. I says, no, look at your refractometer. How far up does it go? Well, it goes up to 30. Well, you're not nowhere near. You're not there yet. Mm-hmm. And then we took a little bite and nibble it. And it's like, nah, no sweetness to it at all. It's like I would have a hard time drinking that, right? And you can tell. I told him start a diary because he's now making the compost and he's learning about trace minerals. He's learning about rock dust. Mm-hmm. He's learning about foliar feeding because foliar feeding is the fastest way you can get food into your plants. Yeah. It's the same thing with humans. You think that it's faster getting in your stomach. Put something on your skin, see how fast you absorb it.
Well, can I tell just a little story, Andy?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, one of the ways that we used to make money in the bar is the sugar trick. So what you do is you find the strongest guy in the bar and you say, well, I'll buy you drinks tonight if you can hold your arm up while somebody's pulling it down. And if you can't, then you buy me drinks. And of course they're going, well, yeah, I'm big and strong. So you'd have them hold their two arms out, right? Palms up. You'd have a beautiful young lady pulling on their arm and they're like, yeah, not a problem. Drop a packet of sugar in their other hand. Bang, right now.
What is that?
That's so fast.
What is
That's
that?
so fast. Sugar.
What?
Just
sugar.
Because their body reacts to the sugar that fast, their arm just instantly drops. And in about 2 seconds, they have the strength back. But that's that instant. As soon as that package of sugar touches your skin, bang, there is a reaction through your whole body.
Is it the same thing if it was like, is that organic sugar or is that chemically sugar or was that, because that would happen with the chemical sugar for sure. That high fructose sugar.
Just plain white sugar you get in a sugar packet.
Plain white sugar is toxic. It's toxic. The bees won't touch it. The bees look at that and go, oh yeah, the old line is snorting. Oh, this is cocaine. You're kidding me. No. It's like it's a form of kinesiology. That's exactly in kinesiology what happens. You have your hand out and you use your body to test it. If it's good, nobody can pull your hand down, nothing. But if it's bad, you don't have any. Yeah, it's the same thing. Same identical thing. See?
Yeah, I used to get free drinks all the time, Andy.
You're bad. You're bad, man. You're just a bad dude. You're just a bad dude. It's why the guys uploading sugar bags on. Put that one on the docks. Wear gloves. Oh.
Yeah, it's why the guys unloading sugar bags on the dock wear gloves. Sugar weakens your body and immunity.
Yeah. See, and sugar is one of those heaviest duty toxins. I mean, I came in. So I was at a house yesterday. I'll give you an example. What is it? Halloween. Okay, so kids with sugar. So my partner has 2 kids. They came home with bags and bags of sugar, right? And no sooner did they walk in, I'm going, oh shit, I'm getting dizzy. What is going on? And my heart started beating. I'm going, shit. I don't even have to. And then I put my hand on the bag. This stuff is in there. Put my hand on the bag. I'm going, woohoo, woohoo. Oh yeah. And I don't even. I can go to the store and look at a box. Just touch it. And I'm going,
that's got sugar in it.
Yeah, that's got sugar in it. And seriously, I've gotten into that place when I go shopping. Like I was telling you about this cooking the popsicle. It's like tiny little things, but I'm going, Oh, I have to have it. No, don't do
I
it.
know it's gonna hurt me, but I gotta have it.
It's a powerful drug. And then they said, we're gonna really screw you up. We're gonna do sugar and salt together. Neither of these are real sugar or real salt. We're gonna put them in together. We're gonna get you so screwed up that you're gonna come back for more.
Yeah.
You're gonna come back for more. And you know, it's no coincidence. Sugar, booze, duh. Right?
Sugar burns you out really fast. I was just looking at Super Nessa's comment here. I'm considering using sugar cane, put it through a roller. Now, I think the sugar cane that you would be using, Super, would be, you know, something that you grew yourself. So, you know, that's probably going to be something that you can use.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. There's a big difference between sugar cane and this sugar. There's not even sugar.
Yeah.
It's not real sugar. It's made, and it's a genetically modified organism that's never on nature. It's never meant for us. It's a drug. And the military, I'm pretty sure all the military has to do is put you on a sugar diet, have you under control. The enemy I'm talking about.
Yeah, drop chocolate bars on the
and that's what's going on now with our society. You go out there and you can see these people are eating all this stuff all the time. All the time. It's like 99.9% of the people are eating heavy sugar stuff and heavy salt stuff and a combination of the weirdest thing, and they're drinking like crazy. That's one reason I never got into booze, because I can smell that stuff a mile away and I'm going, oh, tie me down. And you know, diabetes. Everybody's got diabetes, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and so it's the same thing with plants. It's the same thing with plants. But talking about a refractometer, it's basically helpful to keep you off the sugar, the bad sugar. But it doesn't work if you're going to use it on bad sugar. If you're a chemical grower and you're just using chemical fertilizers left and right, you're going to get all kinds of weird readings. It's like, no, you can say, look how wonderful the 30, 40, 500 Brix level. I go, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right? It's so absolutely weird. But that pooch cobbler gonna be, what's that? What is that?
Hold on. Let's see. That peach cobbler gonna be lit
tomorrow.
TMW. Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you're growing peaches, for example, or apples. You know, that's a big difference going out there and picking and coming in and cooking it right than the actual stuff you buy in the store. These things are not even. The peaches have been. I'm pretty sure they add more sugar to it. It says added sugar. You look on the back, it says added sugar. Why would you add sugar to it? The same with chocolate bar. Have more sugar than the ones in Canada. Exactly. It's totally mind blowing. I was in the store today, and I'm sitting there, and this is in the health section. All these chocolate bars, I'm looking at them. One said organic, and I didn't go for it because it was like 30 grams of sugar, so it must have come from someplace other than from, the product probably wasn't sugar, had something else in it. But the rest of the stuff, it was like, eat this and die.
Yeah.
And these things are supposed to be healthy for you because they have protein in them, they have milk in them, all kinds of stuff. I don't do dairy too much. I'm a kind of a weird guy. Look, I have no problem with dairy. I have no problem being on a farm, milking a cow. The cow's healthy, no problemo. It's the dairy you get from cows that are not healthy, that have been injected, that have all kinds of other stuff going on with them.
Yeah,
that's really super, super bad. So with a refractometer, you want to do that because in your vegetable, it's really good in your vegetable garden because it gives you like instant. You get instant readings in the sense that when you stick it on the lens, you look through, you get an instant reading. You can tell what's going on, and in terms of what you're doing right, that's what I would say, right? If you're that kind of gardener that needs some kind of external input, a refractometer is a really way to go. A refractometer will tell you if your biology is working right. A good gardener like you go out there and or Leighton, they know the biology is working because you can see it, and you don't have to have a reading or a test to see if the plants are healthy or not.
Well, when you see that deep green color and the thickness of the leaf, you know that that's a healthy plant. If you see leaves that you can pretty much see through, and it doesn't have a deep lustrous color, you can see there's something not healthy. And then you start seeing the bugs that have been chewing on the leaves, and you're going, ooh, yes, this is not a healthy plant.
The color is actually, for me, is a bluish green color.
Okay.
Yeah, high nitrogen produces a very high bright green color, and the bluish in the color basically means it has all these different cool trace minerals. It causes that color to do that. And so when a bug sees those colors, they stay away because they cannot digest that. Yeah. But when they see the bright green color, that means go.
Maybe that's where we got to stop and go, man. We got to figure out what light to put out for the bugs to stop coming. Just stop at the side of the field, man. It's a permanent stop sign here.
So, not too many people know how to use a refractometer. And it's a lot of fun to use once you realize that it's not that difficult to do. You just get this little unit, keep it clean, use distilled water. There's a way to calibrate it. You add a little bit of distilled water, and you look through it, make sure it's not zero. And then you keep it clean all the time because you don't want to have contaminated from other foods and stuff.
Now, what are you using to clean them, Andy? Like an isopropyl alcohol, like the alcohol wipes? What are you using to clean the
distilled water is all you really need. Distilled clean water.
Distilled water.
Not city water. You want distilled water. So you can buy it from a bottle of distilled water. If you have a water filter in the house, you can use that. Take it with you. But you don't want to use the filter the water from the hose or from the city, because that will eventually screw up your lens, so to speak, and screw up the instrument, especially if you use it to measure, because it will measure the chemicals in the water, when it comes through. So when you calibrate, you have to calibrate it with the distilled water in there. That way you get zero. If you calibrate the city water, it's going to change it. And that actually, you may want to put a drop of city water and look through the refractometer and see what happens.
Just for the hell of it, just to see, right? And I have to pause here because I got to give Silly Lily a hard time here. Can you please stop talking about pumpkin cheesecake? Okay, because Andy's going to have a heart attack just from the thought of it. I know it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, guys. And by the way, Luna's not on tomorrow night. She's taking Thanksgiving off. But guys, come on. I'm just
pumpkin cheesecake sounds good. Sounds good to me. Put it in a box and send it to me. I don't know how long I would last because I've never had pumpkin cheesecake before. So my body will probably flip out. If it's natural, if it's clean, why not, right?
Well, the way Lily makes it, she doesn't add sugar. She uses honey.
Yeah, you go.
And it's like melt in your mouth, Andy. Like my mouth is watering. That's why I told her stop already.
Yeah, you can't. So my wife was an excellent cook, and I ate the best. And now that she's gone, I wish I had learned. But this is something that you just don't learn how to really cook properly. I bet you, Silly is really an excellent cook.
Oh
You know what I mean? So that's the problem with me. I can't go out, and nobody really knows what they're doing in terms of cooking, and I certainly don't. Michelle's a really good cook, so but I can't be eating, going to eat at her place every day now. But so it's for me. I just learned how to make dal. That's as far as I've gotten with the cooking. Or maybe I could do baked potato, right? But I've always been in my garden. I just go out like a cow. I walk around and chew on everything.
Yeah.
I've always done that. Yeah. So that's something that's like a skill, a gardening skill, a cooking skill is the same thing. You have to develop it and be good at it. So I'm a good gardener, really lousy cook. And when I was in Florida, I was just eating fruit almost all the time. Fruit year round. Over here, you don't really have really good fruit either. That's another
Yeah.
problem for me because I like, I'm a tropical boy living in a tropical environment, having fruit year round.
Well, on you're lucky enough you're going to be moving to a new property that has some acreage, so maybe that's one of the things you're going to be looking into is getting some of those fruit trees going.
Yeah, I'm going to have them in my backyard and figure out how to make. I can make it happen. I'll get some dwarf. I'll get some dwarf, and then what I'll do is I'll start a little refractometer diary with them because when you get first one of the things you can do, and they don't like it, but if you go to a nursery and you do a bricks reading on the plants before you buy it.
Oh, they wouldn't like that at all.
No, they wouldn't like that.
But then most of them wouldn't have a clue what the hell you were doing.
Right. You just take a little leaf, you bring it there. Can I get a piece of the leaf? And they'll say yes, and then you do it there, and you can look at it. It's got a 5. If it's under 10, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
I would tell them this is under 10. It should be at least 15, 20 in the container. It should be that's the plant. The plant stuff is different than the fruit. But if it's really, really low bricks, I just tell you these guys were not doing anything. Once you get to plant and you're going to try to go organically, you're trying to bring back a really cancer person back to life. It's very difficult to do. It's always going to be weak on you because it isn't functioning properly. Howdy. Hi, Marshall, artist. How you doing? Look at all that, cool. So it's a process, but it is a very good tool, a very inexpensive tool to buy. The cheap that was $35. So you don't have to spend more than $30-$40 for a good refractometer. What I would also do too is there are a couple of different varieties on the market, and the place to get one is Edmund Scientific Company.
Edmund,
EDMOND, Scientific.
Okay.
And they have all kinds of cool kits. Of course, they have all kinds of really cool refractometers. They have really cool microscopes. The refractometer is under $100. You get a really high class refractometer that you can just use forever.
Okay.
And remember,
so you're talking about a diary, Andy. So how often should we be checking our bricks reading on a plant during its life cycle?
It depends on the plant. Tomatoes, I would probably do it on a weekly basis. A tomato plant, and then when the first tomatoes come out, I would do a slice and do a bricks reading on that one, and then also maybe another month do another batch of tomatoes, a bricks reading on that one, see how they've gone up. Tomatoes should be in the 28. My tomatoes have always been higher than 28. Go off the scale on the bricks reading because they go with. Oh, where is this? Edmund.
This is Edmund Scientific.
There you go. Right. There's lots of good stuff you can get there. Very inexpensive, and you get the quality and maybe a little microscope to look at the biology through. But you want to do what's cool about the bricks readings too is you also want to start doing leaves and flowers.
Okay.
Hit that like button, people. Yeah, hit the like and make a comment.
And guys, just to let you know, yesterday during the R&D Grow, when I checked right after, it was only showing 11 views, yet there was 37 likes. So that's how much of a suppression the algorithm is putting on our channel. So please share this information out with more people. Hit that thumbs up because it forces the algorithm to push the content out to more people. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. So but you'll find it really very interesting to do the plant, the leaf, the flower, and the fruit. And that will teach you an enormous amount of what you're adding to your property, what you're using. And if you're growing whatever, so you can do it for the very same thing you guys like to grow and use, because that's also key, is important, especially if you're using for medical purposes. You want the trace minerals. You seriously need these trace minerals to make it work.
And that's what Scotty's talking about here. In our favorite plant, I like to check mid-veg and the end of flower, just how he does it. But would that be a good time to be checking in the middle of vegetation, or should we go early veg?
Well, if you're checking in the middle of vegetation, it's kind of too late to change in midstream what you're doing already. So you can check to see what happened, but you're not going to be able to make any difference. Ideally,
Okay.
in the very beginning, even before you get to when you first you do the plant from the very beginning. So when you have a first month of growth, you do a Brix reading on it. And then you want to do a Brix reading on, let's just say a monthly basis, up until that's more than enough. But so the point would be if you see it really low, you know, well, I'm doing something wrong. I want to raise the Brix level. What do I need to do? Then you have an opportunity to do it for the plant. But if you do it at mid-level, it's only for your understanding to see where it's at. Not that you can change it, because you can't really change it now. You can't do any foliar applications to it. Right? Even after where you're flowered and you're already going to a budding stage, it's already too late to change it. It's only good to know, well, next time I'm going to do this with it. It usually has to do with, again, the condition of the soil that it's growing in. You key into the pH level of the soil. If you get the soil pH level at the right place, you'll be surprised how fast it works at the right pH level. Foliar feeding is very, very good. You can do that up until you have the buds, the flowers. You never want to foliar spray those. The same thing with any fruit and vegetables, anything like that. You don't want to spray the flowers with any foliar application. It's always foliar. That's why it's called foliar application. Leaves, right? The leaves or the trunk. When I do trees, I spray the trunks because it gets absorbed to the trunks.
So, Scotty, if you're only doing a 3-week veg, do it in week 1, do it in week 2, and do it in week 3, and see what the different levels are. You're doing cycles over and over again. Get to know what plant is doing what, and then see where you can change things to bring your Brix up. That would be my suggestion.
So you do it, and then for the next grow, you'll know better what you did this time to correct it. That's the ideal scenario. You watch it. Do the Brix reading for the growth process. What's really cool, if you keep a diary, you can see over time. Yeah. Well, that is getting better. This is getting better. This is getting, and not only that in terms of the growth, but you can also do it with any plant, whether you want to have better fruit, better tasting fruit. So that's always very good for and same thing with vegetables. The problem with vegetables, you grow lettuce, you eat it, right? But ideally, if you have the same seeds, you can grow them again. And each time you learn more, so that you get better and better at it. You don't really need that, because you as a good gardener, you can tell, but that really reinforces what you're doing right, and what maybe what you're doing wrong. Because if you think this is right and it's not working, that tells you that, well, that's not working. Something's wrong. You don't want to wait until you have a bug or a disease attacking your plant. I have a friend of mine that threw half of his crop away because it was the caterpillars all over it.
Ouch.
Right? And he wasn't keying into trace minerals at all. He had no idea that he had to pay attention to what trace minerals he's giving. So he was giving a standard chemical fertilizer, which had maybe 4 or 5 trace minerals in it, and that was it. Yeah. Copper, iron, right? Are the two they give you. You're lucky you get any calcium in there at all, and that's it. Yeah. Then you have to buy something specifically that's for trace minerals, and that's not really the best way to give trace minerals to your plants, because the microbes haven't eaten that. This is chemically made. Yeah. This will kill microbes. It will kill you overdo it a little bit. Usually trace minerals are usually overdone, right? Too much trace minerals becomes toxic. Exactly. Boron is a very important. I'm glad you brought it up. Perpetual,
perpetual motion. And I used to use boron for my tomatoes, and I actually found a recipe where I could make it from borax bleach. Very I think 1/10 of a gram to a gallon of water. Like, it was very, very low, because it's very concentrated. But there are recipes that you can get that boron in a liquid form that you can actually do a foliar with.
Right, like boric acid is a form of boron, so you learn how to use that. But I learned, I encountered a very interesting source of boron, and you guys will probably love this because it's called AgriGrow, AGRIGRO, AgriGrow. And this AgriGrow product and I call it the pink stuff because it's boron. It's basically a liquid boron, and that they manufacture. It's totally OMRI, and it's really, really cool. And I use that. I've been using that since 1970 or 71, and I use this tiny small amount that I add to another product, which is the nitron, NITRON 835. These are two different types of liquids, which are basically two different types of enzymes, and the boron is a key essential factor to all plants. They need that. They need it in the form that they can absorb it. So, but one of the things I at the time that what I've gotten more into a source of boron is the microbes, the biology, the worm juice it's an excellent source of boron.
Mm-hmm.
You find boron in the worm juice. If you test it for the boron, you'll see, gee, where's the boron coming from? The worms, the microbes in the worm juice. And that's why I like worm juice, and I also like Layton's fish pond juice. I like it. Certain biologies are very, very good at pulling the boron. It's not just if it gets boron, it also has to pull up some of the more exotic ones as well. They're in the boron.
Okay. Now, Ghetto has a question here. Can you get or can you ferment dandelions for boron?
Dandelions are a high source of nitrogen and iron, and they also have high source of boron in it.
Yeah. So
dandelion.
Then we can ferment it, like do a fermented plant juice,
right?
Pull that out and foliar feed that onto our plants.
Boron is elemental. It has a wide variety. Dandelion has a wide variety. You find lots of plants that absorb because they're weeds and they pull up a certain mineral. They also pull up these other ones with them too. They're all bound together. And by the way, the one is if your plants are that one about the bricks. Scotty said I want to get that one.
The word is if your plant's bricks are 12% or higher, bugs can't even see it.
That's not true. What they'll see it, but they'll notice. See, 12 is not really super high. Page, poor, average, good, excellent. So where do you think 12 would be at?
Mm.
And you have your refractometer goes up to 32. So 32. So you know that somewhere a little bit around 32, but it's not quite that high. So poor is like way below that 12 is average.
Yeah.
Anything above 10 is average. Anything below 10 is poor, right? 10 to 20 is so you have 10 to 20 is average. PA good will be from 20 to 30. Anything above that is excellent.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you recognize this molly.
Yeah, molybdenum. That's another
molybdenum. Okay.
That's another of the exotic elements. You need the what happens is that if you miss any one of the exotic elements, exotic trace minerals, you're going to have a specific pest or disease. That's why I say you need all 96 of them rather than just 90 or 80, or you need to be able to get all of them, including the exotic elements. That would be even things you think you shouldn't have, like silver, cadmium, mercury. These are all exotic trace minerals that are needed in a homeopathic amount.
Yeah. It's like what Leighton is always harping on,
don't be a moron.
Don't be a moron. I actually changed the phraseology in here, so let me bring it up. So don't be a moron. Remember to maintain the balance.
That's right. And that's what it's all about when you want to do trace minerals. Usually people concentrate on too much on certain things, which actually blocks the availability of the trace minerals. The bottom line is only Mother Nature can give you all these. Only Mother Nature, only the biology can provide these particular exotic ones that we need. And if we do it right, let the biology do it right. So that's all we have to do is make sure we have the biology going right, and you'll find that the trace minerals and everything will show up, and the bugs will go, the heck with this, and the disease will go, the heck with this, because they need that.
Well, and that's why what I'm doing in the R&D grow, where I'm growing a whole different variety of plants right now, a bunch of vegetables, but I'm going to be looking at researching the medicinal plants and growing those, because those are Mother Nature's plants that she pulled up those nutrients to put back in the soil. So I want those plants to get their biology, because that's the biology that breaks out cadmium and the iron and the magnesium and the molybdenum and all of those rare things that are in the soil. But we don't have the biology to pull it out. That's why I'm growing those types of things.
And there's no way that we can create that ourselves and say, this is, I made this in the lab and that's going to do the same thing that Mother Nature does. It does not work. It doesn't work. So you just have, and the refractometer, the better you get at it, the more you can see how Mother Nature works. Because you're not going to go out and get cadmium and put it into the soil. No, see, so it doesn't work that way. But these are needed. These are essential. And the best way is to let Mother Nature do it. But you really have to have Mother Nature in the soil and there working and functioning to happen. And that's your number one control of diseases and pests. If you do that, you'll be surprised. People go, what the heck are you doing? And because it's in the pudding. The pudding, the proof is in the pudding. You do something and people go, what the heck happened?
Now, Scotty, I'm not sure about nitrogen deficient, but it's definitely calcium deficient or impacted soil or tight soil. That's one of the two reasons that I know of that dandelion will germinate and sprout in your soil. Usually, so do you know about the nitrogen end of that, Andy?
No, usually all weeds, when they grow, are also indicative of how much nitrogen is available nitrogen.
Okay.
And so all weeds basically produce more nitrogen in the soil. They tend to give more nitrogen back to the soil. So the same thing with all weeds. All weeds. Nitrogen.
Okay, now let's stop calling them weeds. They're earlier transitional
plants.
Okay.
Earlier transitional plants.
But Andy, brother, I love you, man, but we're at the hour, and I know you worked hard today. Okay, so we're going to cut it there, guys. And as I said, tomorrow night, Luna is not on due to Thanksgiving, and I wish everybody, our U.S. friends, a very happy Thanksgiving. Canada, we celebrated it last month because that's when our harvest was last month. We get cold earlier. But Andy, do you have anything to add, brother, that you would like to mention before we cut the show?
No, I really appreciate being here, and we're going to be next week. We're doing let's see, it's hang on one second. It's the it's from seed to plate, growing your own organic fruit.
Oh, bonus. I that's going to be one I'm going to be looking forward to, because I love fresh fruit picked right off the tree.
That's it right there. That's what I really miss. I miss going out and bending over and just sitting there munching on some leaves or some food. And that I could do that all day.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually going to start strawberries in the R&D grow, because that way I can have them going all the way around the place and just nibble as I walk through, And you guys can be jealous about my eating strawberries.
Grow some arugula while you're going.
Arugula? I don't know that I've ever had arugula.
Yeah, you can do it with the strawberries, right? Let them grow with the strawberries.
Anyway, guys, love you all. Remember,
take care. Bye.
To comment, hit the like button, and share this stuff with your friends. So
thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody. See you later.
Namaste.